Welcome to Module 12. So in this module we're going to look at the psychological issues related to two very topical sort of broader issues, one being ethics and the other being technology. So how does the psychology evidence interface with both of those two things? So we're going to start with looking at ethics. And here this is going to be important because as we'll see, the psychological evidence shows that yes, while ethical decision making can have a significant sort of conscious or rational component, you have to sort of work out what the ethical course of action is, and then you have to go and do that thing. Well, what we're going to talk about during this module is the evidence that shows that yes, whilst that's true, there can also be a substantial sort of subconscious or unintentional aspect of ethical decision making. And what that means is that advisors who perhaps have the best of intentions of acting ethically in their client's best interest can still sometimes succumb to some of these sort of subconscious decision making biases. And as we'll see from the research, what this means is that because there's a subconscious sort of unintentional component, well, what that can mean is that advisors, people generally, but advisors in this context, can be more impacted by things like conflicts of interest than they think. So they can be impacted to a great extent in a greater number of ways. And also it can mean that just detecting some of these problems and overcoming them can be quite difficult, given that they are often happening beyond people's conscious awareness. So we're going to look at that evidence and say, well, given these problems, what are some of the things that we know probably aren't going to work that we might have tried, but probably don't align well with the research? And also then, well, what can we do? What sort of psychological insights can we use that's going to support ethical decision making? And then we're going to move on to the technology issues. So how does technology and psychology, how do they fit together, and what happens at the interface of sort of human behavior and technology? Now, of course, technology can play an important role in an advice process and in giving advice. So you've got things like sort of all the automation, the tools, the templates that technology can facilitate and make an advisor's life easier, make their business more scalable. You've got all the data side of things, the insights, the number crunching that can deliver insights into markets, into investments, and into clients. And then you've got the interfaces. So there's sort of technology interfaces that allow a way of engaging with clients that wouldn't be possible without technology. Now, whilst each of these things can have some fantastic benefits, they also come with a range of issues. So the data insights, as we'll talk about, can come with a new range of ways of potentially misunderstanding clients. The interfaces can sometimes backfire in certain ways. And the last one was the automation and the templates. Well, that can lead to complacency if it means that an advisor therefore doesn't sort of exercise enough of their own judgment to oversee what is sort of happening through this automated process. So these are the two broad areas we're going to look at: ethical behavior decision making, technology related behavior and decision making, and we're going to start with conflicts of interest.